All right, we're doing this. Time to share with you guys a bit of our journey from infertile to full house.
Gr8Full House.
For those of you who don't know, we are the Gr8Full House, and we are a family of 8. We have 6 kids, one of which came to us via adoption, and the others came the old-fashioned way. No infertility treatments needed, and 4 of our kids are 5 and under. So we have a very full, vibrant, loud, crazy house. But it wasn't always that way, and I didn't know if it would ever be that way. Little backstory about me. Growing up, I am one of 6 myself. I'm the youngest. So I didn't grow up with a lot of little ones as siblings, but my older siblings were quite a bit older than me. So I became an aunt when I was 10 years old. But even before then, I just knew from the youngest of age that I can remember that I wanted to be a mom, like so badly. I just knew in my core that that was what I wanted to do. You know, while other kids were playing with Barbie dolls, I was playing with baby dolls, and I loved pretending to be a mom, and it wasn't a question for me. I just knew that's what I wanted to do with my life. And then having the unique experience of getting to watch my older sisters go through pregnancy and becoming an aunt at a young age and getting to experience loving on those babies. It just further confirmed, like, that is what I want. That was my goal. And when I met Joe, I shared that with him early on, that I wanted to have all the babies. I wanted to have a big family. Honestly, I didn't think I would want to have a family of 6 necessarily, but I thought I wanted to have 3, 4 kids, and that I wanted to do it sooner rather than later. We got married pretty young. I was 23 and Joe was 26, and we wanted to spend some time as just the 2 of us as newlyweds, and I was doing a new business as a wedding photographer, and we were having a lot of fun with traveling, and we were also being diligent about paying off some debt from my student loans, and we had some goals. But within 2 years of being married is when we really had the conversation, like, it's time to start trying. I never even considered that I would struggle to get pregnant. I just thought that when we wanted to have a baby, we would try, and within a month or 2, we'd be pregnant. But God had other plans. We started trying, and it wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. I would say at about 6 months into trying is when I really started to worry. I know they say that's not that long, but I sensed that this journey was going to look different than I thought. Joe and I both went and got checked out separately to see if there were any underlying causes of why we weren't getting pregnant. And this was the part that was hard for me, is that there was nothing wrong, which is a good thing. But to me, I wanted a reason of why it wasn't happening. I wanted something that could be fixed. And we were just labeled as unexplained infertility. Unexplained infertility. They had no reason of why it wasn't happening. In fact, I remember them, when they did my ultrasound, telling me, "You have beautiful ovaries." Thank you. So, I mean, everything was good. Everything was normal. There was no reason why I couldn't get pregnant. And that's when I really started to struggle and question the Lord. If there is nothing stopping our bodies from getting pregnant, why, God? Why aren't you letting it happen? That is when things really started hitting me emotionally. This was like a really hard and dark time for me, where I really started questioning my identity, my worth. I felt like such a failure, like my body was failing me. I worried about how Joe would see me. He was such a rock through all of this, and continued to remind me that this was not my fault. This was not, that he viewed me the same regardless. We were really united through all of it. My identity of what I had envisioned for who I was meant to be was totally being ripped from me. Around that time, a lot of my friends were starting to grow their families and wanting to grow their families as well. And seeing friends get pregnant like that was really hard. You want to be happy for them, but you can't help but feel the sting of like, they're getting the thing that I want so badly, and it's coming so easily for them. So really wrestled with a lot of, I wouldn't even say jealousy. It was just like hard to rejoice for others when I was hurting so badly. About a year into our journey of trying, Joe said nonchalantly one night, I remember it very distinctly, we were in the kitchen, and he said something like, well, I guess it's time to adopt now. And I was just like so taken aback by that. Up until this point, we had never talked about other options, pursuing infertility treatments, pursuing adoption, anything like that. We just, I guess, we're still going down the route of just hoping that it would happen naturally. So when he said that, when he just said, okay, well, I guess it's time for us to look into adoption, I saw that as him giving up on my dream. I felt like he was throwing in the towel and just being like, well, this isn't working, I guess, and it's not going to happen, so I guess we're just moving on. Of course, that was not his intention, but that is what it felt like to me. And I immediately, put the brakes on, and I was like, no, we're not doing that. I got very defensive, as I often do, and immediately rejected the idea. And he said to me these words that I remember so clearly. He said, I am just praying that you will be open to being open to the idea of adoption. I just want you to be open to being open. Because he knew that I was so closed off to any other idea than my own. And thus began the journey of seeing what God had in store.
One last thing before we go. Go tell someone something that you're grateful for. Go on. right now.